We'll leave the little church along the bayou to visit another hallowed ground. It's my selection for number 1. For Shreveport historian Gary Joyner, Mansfield has always been a joy to visit.
They're executing their right to dig, to mine, but they are digging on holy ground, on hallowed ground.
But lately, the LSU teacher has found this final resting place for Civil War dead hardly restful.
That's because we're only now truly working on what's called the FEBA, or the forward edge of the battle area. I've just completed it, and that's in the middle. Now there's no trees, there's nothing taller than grass, is where the Union made their final stand on the night of April 8, 1864, and where the Confederates pushed them back across the water, holding the only water for 10 miles, sealing the fate of the Union column to retreat to Pleasant Hill.
The sounds of mining for lignite coal can be heard from the state park here, and less than a mile away, the giant mining operation comes into view. Although the park is protected, it fences only the most contested areas of this war-hallowed ground. Beyond the famous rail fence line, a power company with interest nationwide digs for coal to make electricity. This is one of the world's largest scooping cranes, powerful enough to lift this house-sized bucket and the tens of tons of dirt it can scrape at one time from the hills of DeSoto Parish. Among these hills are 5,000 acres historians call the greater site of the Battle of Mansfield.
They are pushing into the edge of the battlefield itself. They have already destroyed the final phase, the third phase, which is all Union. There are no true Confederate positions in there.
And by destroyed, you mean that
gone.
There
is a giant hole in the ground which has been filled up. You can't save everything. Just because something's old doesn't make it important. It doesn't have a property called historicity. It's historically important. So what you do is you save the most vital areas of each piece.
And you save them in the place they're in,
and
too.
And you save them in situ, in the place.
Right.
And you say, this is it. Nobody touches it. Nobody puts in buildings. Nobody does mining. No taco stands, you know. And the model for that is what happened to Gettysburg.
But that hasn't happened here yet, has it?
It has not happened here yet. And yet, a version of it has, and it's behind me.
There's dispute here over where the edge of the battlefield is?
Yes. And they perfectly, happily chomped up where they said it wasn't, but everybody else knows that it was. When you find artifacts in a place, you got a battle.
Once surrounded by trees, the Allen House stands against a stark backdrop of strip mining. Built around 1840, this was a headquarters and field hospital for Union General Nathaniel Banks, who led the unsuccessful charge up the Red River. He was turned around here in the Confederacy's last victory west of the Mississippi. 50 feet behind the house, the huge bucket churns day and night, stripping 60 feet of dirt from hills that Joyner suspects contain the remains of United States soldiers. Power company spokesman Scott McLeod.
Restricting development in this area, which would include the Doley Hills mining opportunities, would restrict economic development opportunities for the Mansfield area and surrounding areas, and possibly deny low-cost energy to the customers of this region.
State archaeologist Tom Eubanks.
You'll dig up the interesting things, you'll map it out, you'll get an understanding of its importance, but then the mining still continues.
Right. The National Historic Preservation Act does not stop the project. It affords a certain amount of protection to sites through this data recovery process.
It says, hold on, let me look at this.
Right.
But then you can still mine it.
You can still mine it.
That's our list of endangered sites. There are so many more that aren't getting anyone's attention. This old train depot in Edgard has half collapsed, and no one has means to save it. The most endangered landmarks are the ones like this that we've yet to worry about. Of the 12 we've found today, this is the real symbol of worry, the landmarks we've yet to notice vanishing across the state.
The Edgard Depot is at least on the Preservation Alliance's list of most endangered sites. What are you worried about in your neighborhood? Oh, it's locked. But you and I will meet again in our search for lost Louisiana, because I'm sure there are many more castaways that need rescuing on the road ahead.